All right. Well, in the interest of everybody's time, we'll go ahead and get started. We do have our quorum now. Welcome, everyone. This is the Florence Historical Preservation Commission meeting, the full commission meeting, every third Tuesday of the month here at 31 North Pine Street. I did make that change to the website, so it reflects that now. So the long and short of it is with a quorum, I'll go ahead and officially start our meeting. First order of business here that we've got is that calling the meeting to order. The second is issuing the financial report. I'm going to pass this around to commission members. That is our financial statement. There has been no change since last month. The long and short of it is we have had very little activity in the bank account since past several months and whatnot. That should change shortly, in part because we'll have some trainings coming up and whatnot. And those are mandatory for each commission member. So annually we go ahead and do those things. And we have submitted our application to the city for our annual allocation and whatnot. So we look for those things, the response on those shortly.
Okay.
So with that, item number 3, our report from the design committee. There was no quorum with the design committee this week. So in part, what I wanted to do was roll all of those items into kind of a new business item for the full commission to meet, since we did not have a quorum. We did have a couple applicants who were kind enough to join us for that meeting, so we did have some dialogue, but I wanted to save that for the full commission and let folks know. So moving on to old business, that is items that were in front of the commission last month and that we could bring to the fore. We do have some applicants who are here. Thank you for your presence and whatnot. We want to go through those items now. That one of those applications specifically was the Project Say Something application. We did not have the full, we had an application, but we did not have a draft language available at that time. So in our last meeting, we then kind of engaged together as commission meetings and engaged with Billy Warren as the city historian to sit down with the applicant, the folks who are here with us today from Project Say Something, to develop a draft language that could then be submitted as part of what you're going to see today. We appreciate everybody's involvement in that. Engaging kind of folks early in the process is, I think, a ability to move this in the direction that could be positive. So let's consider that. I'm going to pass around to commission members, and I'll read this. If you could share with folks.
Jay, were you here at the last meeting? 'Cause I don't think you know about
sorry.
all of this. Just here's the. Do you want to do like a high level overview of what it is? Because Jay wasn't here, so he's.
I'm good.
Okay, you know. Okay.
This, just for everyone's application, this would be in front of the city courthouse and whatnot. This would be a historical marker application. We are following the process as delineated by the city, and that is we are on item number 3. That is the HPC. That is us. We'll vet the request. If the request meets the criteria for a historical marker, we would then present a draft to the mayor council office on how that marker should read, and the administrative assistant would then format the design for a design committee specification, company specification, and send that to the city historian for editing and approval. Since the city historian is actually an ex officio member of this body, we thought engaging early with the applicant, with everybody engaged, was an interesting way to actually see if we can't come to a dialogue, and that is the point of our meeting today. Wait, actually, let me pass this around for everyone. Just so you guys. So, actually, can I read?
Yeah.
Or do you want to read this?
I'm actually having a copy.
Okay. I'll go ahead and read this for everyone's application. The draft language of this would read as follows. The Lauderdale County Confederate Soldiers Monument at the front would read as follows. Following the devastating human losses incurred during the Civil War, communities across the nation sought ways to honor their dead. In the decades immediately following the war, monuments were often funerary and located in spaces set aside for mourning, such as cemeteries. The majority of Confederate monuments, however, were erected later in the years between the 1890s and the 1930s, coinciding with the end of Reconstruction and the spread of white supremacist policies known as Jim Crow laws. In Alabama, Jim Crow laws were codified when the state constitution was rewritten in 1901 to disenfranchise black citizens. These later Confederate monuments were often strategically placed at public sites, such as in front of courthouses or Capitol buildings, to convey the permanence and prevailing power of white supremacy. Then we flip over to the back language, and this would be the back of the monument historical marker. The Confederate monument that stands in front of the Lauderdale County Courthouse used to stand on the southwest corner of Court and Tennessee Streets, where the first two buildings stood. The Ladies Memorial Association and the Florence chapter of the United Daughters of the Confederacy funded the statue. On April 26, 1903, Dr. H.A. Moody of Mobile delivered the dedication speech for the Confederate monument in Lauderdale County. Addressing a crowd of an estimated 5,000 people, he said the monument stood to memorialize, quote, the Confederate soldier and all that soldier stood for. He then said, and continuing quote, and yet another message that has that pure white figure for us, a message more wonderful and of higher import than all the rest. In this our Southland flows the purest Anglo-Saxon blood that pulses in any human veins. And nowhere here are black people accorded social equality. The monument was moved to its current location in front of the third Lauderdale County Courthouse when it was constructed in 1965. That is the draft language that's before us today for consideration. I didn't know if you, Billy, wanted to say anything in terms of kind of view from the city historian perspective, but I wanted to let folks here know that we sat down as a group early and tried to come to some language that actually reflected all of the components that are before us today and whatnot. And this is what we arrived at. So appreciate everybody's willingness to discuss this. Appreciate everyone's willingness to sit down before this, and it's now before us in the process. So with that, I turn it over to the group and ask if there's any comments or any.
I got one question.
Sure.
The 1903 quote by Moody, there's two quotation marks there. Is he using both of those, or just the first, then and another quotation mark? Is that a later quote?
It's all
Or is that
from,
part of the speech?
it's all part of the speech, everything
So
was.
why is there a quotation mark not around the word and? I
Well,
look at it like that might be a quote here, and then this quote was added on afterwards.
That's kind of it.
yeah,
It becomes a.
it's because the speech is so long, it's extremely long.
Okay.
So for brevity, we chose quotes that we thought reflected and made the most grammatical sense, like when you put it into a sentence.
Yeah, the word "and" was not in the actual.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
But
you
that's-
suggest-
It joins two quotes,
It
Right,
was two
but by
quotes.
the same Moody.
certainly.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. He said both things. They
Okay,
were
that's what-
separated by a lot, as you can tell from
But it
the,
could be misleading, well, this one here, this one here, but it is about the same.
yeah.
Same person in the same
person,
speech.
Yeah.
Where will this monument be placed with these, the front and the back, the documents on here be? Where will it be placed?
It's gonna be in a stretch of green space that the city owns, I believe, in front of the county courthouse.
In front of
Can I ask
where?
a
County
question?
courthouse.
Will the city council not have to approve this?
Yes, that's the last step in the process. It always
So this
goes.
will be the new city council approving this?
No,
I
Yes,
assume it'll
yes,
probably
they come
take
in
that
November
long.
3rd, so
Probably.
this will not be ran through till the new city council goes.
We
out.
have no control after it leaves us,
Right.
how long it
That's
takes.
what I need to know,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah, that's beyond our,
Right, so I see what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
That was what was confusing me. because I didn't know anything about this until my friend David sent me an email about it, and, thought, wait a minute, I thought this was already settled, we've already been through this once with the city council. But I see what's happening again, so this will go before the new city council, that's sworn in on November the 3rd.
It depends on how long it takes to get on their agenda. We don't.
Well, if y'all can get it up there, go ahead,
I know,
but
right?
anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
November 3rd is the date I'm looking for, great.
That's not our agenda.
Yeah, we can't.
Now, would this replace the monument that's there?
No,
It would be ancillary to them.
yeah.
It will be, but it will be in the same
Do you
area.
mean the historical marker that's there? Though there's one for Lauderdale County that the Alabama Historical
Yeah.
Association has up. No, it won't replace that. That will remain.
But the actual placement of this will depend on what the council says.
Yes.
They have final say.
Yeah, that's how the process works, is that we work with applicants on the language for the marker and then approve that. And then it goes to the city historian, and if it has his stamp of approval, it goes to city council, and then they ultimately vote. Typically on just whether or not it can be placed where they want it to be placed, the applicant. That's how it usually works.
Does this have to go somehow through the county also? So this is just going on the little strip of land that's owned by the city?
Okay, well, if you're taking comments from the public, there's a couple things I wanted to at least point out or whatever. I'm curious this almost sounds like a lot of this seems like an opinion piece, not really super objective, like to convey the permanence and prevailing power of white supremacy. I'm curious with the city historian how he would define white supremacy. And it seems like you're quoting a very long speech, just cherry picking quotes. Who gets to choose which quotes you're cherry picking to not take the whole body of work in context? And I have to say, knowing the group that's sponsoring this is all just subversive racial antagonizing. That's all it is. And is it going to bring anything good? At this point, I'm almost indifferent on whether or not this goes up or not. At some point, I'm just thinking, part of me is just saying, okay, just light this candle. Maybe I can put in front of this board historical markers about the historical numbers of how many white people have been killed by black individuals. How many white women have been raped by black individuals? That's historical, right? How subversive do you want to get this? I'm just laying this out on the table. This is how I look at it. So I'm almost indifferent, but this is not a good idea, and it's not up to me, so we'll see how this plays out.
Well, from our standpoint, this was an opportunity to engage the city historian early. It was an opportunity to revisit new language that's been updated that reflects an ability to kind of look at this again, to see if there's a way to review this and tackle this through the process, honoring the process, and we're doing exactly that.
The thing I like about it, you take a different perspective of history that wasn't prevailing at the time.
And what
So
we-
you're not trying to rewrite history, but you're just trying to get a different filter to look at how history is today. You can't rewrite it, but you can get a different framework.
Well, and what we
And
really.
that's all this is doing from my perspective.
When we met and workshopped this, what we were really trying to do was stick as close to the facts that we have and the primary source document that we have, which is the speech. And it is really long, so unfortunately we do have to choose which parts of the speech go in there. There were other things that were potentially, as you say, more subversive in the speech that we chose to leave out, such as where black people are called the mongrel race. There's things like that we thought, let's see if we can thread this needle, remaining true to the primary source that we have, but telling the story, telling the history, and placing this one monument in the broader context, right? That's what we want to do with history anyways, is to kind of place it in context. Like, why are these monuments being erected at the time that they were? And there's lots of scholarship around that. So that's sort of where we were.
Well, as a precedent, has this commission ever approved or had a document like this brought before us to do anything? Is this the first
Well,
time?
actually,
They've approved a lot of historical markers.
Yeah.
This is just another
I
historical marker.
understand it, that's what I'm saying. historical markers, and there's already one up there.
Well, we approved
Yeah.
one, if you're asking about, like the subject matter, we've approved the one that was on UNA's campus about the integration of UNA's campus.
That is something we looked at to kind of give context to this, if you will. A more inclusive era on, and it talks about some very delicate issues and whatnot. And, you know, part of our discussion was trying to thread this needle in terms of how and how to handle these delicate discussions and whatnot. And that was referenced as one way to do that. You have a question?
Well, yeah, it's more of a statement, but I mean, I can understand. I was all for moving the monument. I really was. I think everything got blown out of proportion, and especially in the what's going on right now. I mean, there are a lot of citizens in Florence that would take offense to this, especially the words white supremacy and everything that's in here. It's racially over. It's trying to stir things up. Is really what it's trying to do. You know, I mean, I saw that mess go on down there when the George Floyd and all that stuff was going on. People couldn't eat on Court Street. I mean, we were lucky. We had a very good police chief that took care of things very nicely. But some cities didn't. Decatur didn't, Huntsville didn't. You know, there were a lot of places around us that had a lot of problems. We're in a powder keg right now because of the Charlie Kirk thing. Something like this doesn't need to go on. I mean, I'm just telling you, it doesn't need to go on right now.
We discussed the words white supremacy, and as a group, we all were like, what else? I understand that there's people now who don't want to talk about whether or not white supremacy is a thing or whether or not it still
How would you
exists.
It's
define white
offensive.
supremacy?
It's offensive.
Well,
How would you define white
Call me a
supremacy?
redneck.
well, I think during Jim Crow, when black people were
Was that-
actually disenfranchised,
Would they even use that
discriminated
word
against,
then?
I think that there's not really another way to.
What's white supremacy? Is that like a white majority?
No, it's
Is China, are they Chinese supremacists if they want to, you know,
Well, you
protect
said
their
that
culture?
again. You said it's quite literal.
it's a literal translation. I have a question. So, did ancient Egyptians wash their hands?
What does this have to do with
It's
this?
just a question. Can you follow me?
No, that's a red herring is what that
Did
is.
they wash their hands?
I have no
Did
idea.
anyone on the floor answer the question? Did ancient Egyptians wash their hands?
I assume
They
they did.
did.
I
They
assume
didn't know
did.
about germs. Why did they wash their hands?
That's a red herring. That's a distraction. Has nothing to do. It gets the point.
Point I want to make is, do we vote on this tonight? If so,
We
do
can.
we need to come in discussions on, I mean, it's not irrelevant for what we do. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and so I would,
It
Do
is
we need to make a motion?
today.
do we need to make a motion, second vote?
You
And
can.
that way we can close it?
If I may interrupt just a minute, Katie, that I mentioned it to Chris today. The only change I would make, and all this, it's a masterpiece, I told you that already. But after the word Mobile, just put Alabama, if you would.
Okay, yeah, we can.
The
do
folks that I directed on those walking tours from the big ships this summer, they didn't know whether you pronounced it mobile or mobile. And people from out of state will be seeing this once it's up, and that mobile won't mean anything to them.
That's a good
Just
point.
put the word out.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
all.
that makes sense.
That's good.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting he was from Mobile. I had to look him up. I was like, who is this Dr. Moody? He apparently went around, I think
Yeah, that's kind of
he was,
interesting.
I did read a news article about him, and he was, I think, a veteran, but I don't know if he was a veteran of the Civil War.
But he wasn't local.
But he wasn't local.
So he wasn't local, so this speech really doesn't pertain because it wasn't made by a local.
Yeah, where on the statue is this speech mentioned
Right.
at all?
Well, he was brought in by the local chapter.
But
Where on the statue is
okay,
this?
let's bring in President Trump to make a speech.
Where on the statue is any of this speech written? What's actually written on the statue?
I mean, you're gonna vote however you wanna vote. We can
I'm
still
saying
find
it's
this
like
another
the
day
speech
at
is
the city
nowhere on the
council
statute.
on November 4th.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
Any other discussion from commission members and whatnot? If not, let's go ahead and see if there is a motion on the floor for consideration.
I make a motion to accept it as written with the change that Bill put in.
I'll second it.
Motion to, and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
No.
We have 4-1, so therefore it does not pass.
We have a majority.
No. But it has
If we have a quorum, does it not just mean a majority?
majority of those present.
Right,
So 4 out of 5
4 out
is
of
80%.
five.
Okay, okay. So it does,
it does.
forgive me. Forgive me.
Okay.
The motion passes. This will then be submitted to, officially, to the mayor's office and to the, and will ultimately make its way, but that's one of the reasons we engaged, Billy.
Which mayor would this be presented to?
This will go,
Current one. But he goes out of office November the 1st.
all right.
Well, and this is just the first I've heard of this today, that this was gonna happen today, and I just question to some extent about what the commission has the right to do. And
All I voted on
we
was
have-
historical context.
I don't know that, anyway.
You voted on marker being put out there, is what you
Well,
voted.
and anytime an applicant submits to us, our
What's your
job
name?
is just to vet the language
Okay.
and say yes or no, we agree with the historic context.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next application. That is, and that is at the property.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you for coming.
That is the property 115 East Hawthorne Street. Robbie and Ms. Ellis. Robbie and I sat down and actually dialogued over this a week ago and whatnot. And the primary things that we looked at were related to visibility from Wood Avenue and Secondary Street on Hawthorne. This is, let me pass these around so you'll actually.
Can you see that?
Yeah. This is the property in question.
150 or something?
Yes. Property owner is here with us today, so if there are any questions and whatnot that folks want to ask from a commission standpoint. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie, is it complete or near complete?
About 50%.
50%. One of the things that we did look at is material, just in talking about this and what material, visibility, as I mentioned, and also the percentage of the plot, if you will. We determined that it's actually, I think you said 17% of the,
Maybe 18%, yeah.
because it's a long, narrow plot versus some of the others that we looked at. But if there are any questions that commission members have.
There's no complaint from any neighbors or anything.
You really can't see it unless you go down the alley, for the most part.
I think he's improved it a lot myself.
If there are commission members who want to take a look at what that looks like. These are further down the, these are actually in addition to that, just further down the alley if you needed to. So.
The house that goes, is that the house that goes?
That is, so here's this is actually the structure. This is from Hawthorne.
Okay.
You can't really see it, can you?
You know, not really. I mean, it's set back far enough to be, as we approached this, it was more of a really a garage for us behind our carport of our property that faces Wood Avenue. I'll come around here and pardon my casual attire. I've got 3 hours of soccer practice coming up and coaches texting me wanting to know what fields they're on tonight at the sports place. But that's what we acquired this property when we bought the house at 806 North Wood Avenue. We own the property on the other side, which is at 117 East Hawthorne. as Mr. Evans was saying, hopefully no complaints from the neighbors. We're sort of on both sides of it. There was a house there that the city tore down in 03 or 04, best we know. I hit the foundation and find all sorts of pieces from it all the time when we're digging up back there. But this is really just a garage project, but then the city says, well, this is really a primary residence since it's a separate parcel. That's what then led us down this path of, okay, let's go through the proper channels, so.
Okay.
The one thing that we talked about this on, we as a commission are trying to get ahead of the construction projects, and I realized this was behind the property in an alleyway. But we're trying to convey to the public that this is something we would like to see, and building department would like to see before.
Did it have a building permit?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, because normally that's when you would be,
That's what would trigger some of
Yeah,
these other
yeah.
things and whatnot, so.
okay.
Call for the question.
Is there any discussion or any other question further? So do I have a motion to consider?
I so move.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Our last item for consideration in terms of applications and whatnot is the fence that y'all probably saw before. This actually had a tree fall on it, and it's been reconstructed. So the change that did occur, and I just talked this over with building department, was that they extended it further down the driveway than it had been previously. And this part over here is actually higher than it was previously, still under 6 feet, but it's, so just wanted to.
Change.
And this is on Hawthorne?
That's on Hawthorne.
216 East Hawthorne.
I couldn't figure out what.
I guess they intend to paint it.
That I haven't had a chance to go by and actually dialogue with the owner and whatnot, but that is our understanding, yes. I think what ended up happening is the building department reached out. Yes.
So what changed? Did the whole fence get replaced or just a portion of it? I can't.
I think what
tell.
ended up happening is it extended out further now and completed the front, so
Okay.
I don't know that the front actually was, but I don't know if it existed before. I don't know if it, I don't know if it framed in the property before, so that's really.
And what is I can't remember what the guideline is for the backyard. It's a 6 feet is the higher, and then the front yard it's lower, but I can't remember what it is.
Well, that's side.
I think I think up to a certain point, and then it drops
Yeah.
drops down. So
That's what-
based on distance from the curbing and whatnot.
Is this a house, is it next to the old Cousins house?
No, it's down the road, look one of them.
Down the road?
Yeah, I think it is.
I just looked at it, I wasn't sure.
Is there any like rule of it being right up against the driveway, or does it need to have like a space? Do we know?
I don't think there's anything in
No,
there.
I think it's just front,
Yeah,
Rear.
and that our consideration would be more of a building department component.
That's
From our standpoint, it's the guidelines that.
And usually it's like material and height.
And it improves the premises, doesn't it? It looks like it does to me.
The only
Go ahead.
thing is the taller section. I was trying to figure out where it is on the side. Is it on the back?
by the tree right there. isn't it?
I think it's actually
Yeah.
next to the house.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's at the back of the property, it's on the side of the property.
Beside the property, down the driveway, beside the tree.
Usually bring my guidelines and I didn't tonight, so I don't have them sitting in front of me. But I think that would be my only concern would be if it was too tall on that one.
I know there's a fence on Poplar that's 6 feet high, all the way down the side.
I remember when they applied. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that, I do know the fence.
Someone tried to put up a really tall one.
But this was a 6 foot and 50.
This actually, that's the back of their fence, correct? What we're seeing there? Does that look like the back of that house?
That's the corner of Meridian Street, yes, I don't know about that fence.
So that
That's the
fence
corner
is
house
probably the
on Meridian
backyard
Street.
of that
And so
house.
that
So
was-
this is the only part that's
Yes.
tall.
Yeah,
I see.
and there's a driveway.
I wonder why they want it so
Is that
tall.
an alley or a driveway? Is that?
That might be, the cousin house, is there a back driveway off of Hawthorne, or there's another house? And so, I think that's a
A
driveway.
driveway too.
But that's a corner house.
I mean, I think that that's about where a backyard fence could start,
I would-
so it's probably
I
fine.
think, I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I make a motion with it.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Now,
All those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
Are you keeping these?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Put them right there for you.
Okay, thank you.
Let's move on to any new business for the commission to, any old business for the commission to take on?
Was everybody able to access the training website or links?
I don't know what, I was telling Chris, I've had a hard time with my emails.
Uh-huh.
What should I don't know what to do. Should I?
Let me look at it and then maybe we can look at it together.
I was
Okay.
Email
emailed,
sent links.
yeah, I was emailed links.
Well, I thought it would, I'd love to have done it. I just, I couldn't get it to come up. I don't know what I did.
Well, I even wondered if we wanted to like all watch one like a month and to discuss it at a meeting, you know, have like 5
it'd be
minutes
good,
to kind of discuss what we learned or something. So we can talk about that too, but we can look at it together on the computer to make sure you can access the training. I know Scott said he'd already watched some, so.
I haven't had a chance yet, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
That's on the agenda, so.
I've done 2.
Cool. Are you just watching them in order that they came in?
No, I fit a couple in during my workday.
Okay.
And
me get a
then
copy
there
of
was,
that.
I got the recordings of all
Can
of
I have
them.
that thing?
So I've gone back to at least one of them and just
Yeah, I'm gonna get a
dabbled
copy
in it
too.
and see if it was interesting.
Okay.
Okay, any other business for the commission tonight?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.